Before I start, I don't see her in the room, but I have to make an announcement. Jolene Mazzone is the best matchmaker in boxing. Don't anybody even come close to saying, because you know, I can't even describe how hard it is to find someone on 3 days' notice to step into a situation like this. To find somebody who put up a fight that's probably just as good, if not better, than the one we had planned, my hat is off forever. She did an amazing job. Garrett Wilson, another true Rocky story. This is a guy who came in literally out of nowhere from Philadelphia, fought the Russian guy, almost Russian guy, and put on a fight of a lifetime, and I guarantee you he will be back on NBC Sports Network early next year. We've already told him that. We can't wait to see him again. So it's a good day when everybody gets to come back, and I think that's what we got here. I want to start by thanking our hosts here at Turning to Stone Casino, Resort Casino. This place is beautiful. You've been wonderful hosts. I can't ask for better treatment anywhere, and I would recommend anybody to come here. They won't be sorry. I want to thank NBC for having faith in us and trusting us and letting us do our thing. It was again, you know, you really get defined by what you do when the pressure's on. And today, a lot of people got to prove what they could do when the pressure's on. As far as Tsar Glaskov is concerned, the doctor recommended he go to the hospital. He didn't want to, of course, but he has cuts that are deep on his eyelid, and the doctor's afraid there might be some sort of nerve damage. Glaskov talked, you know, he didn't talk about this, but I will. I remember the day that Evander Holyfield had to get in the ring with Burt Cooper shortly after his fight with Mike Tyson was canceled, the biggest event of his life, the biggest fight of his career. And I watched Evander get knocked down by Burt Cooper, who was not half the fighter Evander Holyfield was. But the truth is, when you're let down like that, when you have the biggest opportunity of your lifetime in front of you and suddenly it's taken away, to get up mentally for that is really hard, and it's a testament to the kind of athlete that Glaskov is, that he never complained, he never asked who the opponent is, never questioned it, he just wanted to fight. And he took on one very, very tough opponent today in Garret Wilson, who was walking in the room, and in real life Rocky, if there ever was one, he is Rocky, and they should take down that statue in Philly and put one up again. So maybe like, so you know, I don't have a lot of quotes from Glaskov, but you know, he said he certainly had fought a guy who was a lot shorter than what he was expecting, a lot wilder than he was expecting. It was quite a turnaround, 180 degrees, but he showed that he's a warrior, and so did Garrett. And I promise you, you will be back on NBC really soon. Garrett, why don't you talk to everybody? You have something to say?
Really tough fight. It was a really tough fight. I mean, I could have listened to my corner a lot more, but you know, it is what it is. I'll just learn from my mistakes and come back even better.
That's it. Anybody have any questions for Garrett? Yes.
Garrett, talk about the size difference. I mean, you've mostly fought at cruiserweight, and you're even a bit short for cruiserweight. How difficult was it to cut the distance and try to land something?
Well, it wasn't really. It was just the fact that I wasn't listening to my corner. I mean, I was being real hard-headed. I mean, the short notice probably was part of the reason, but you know, at the same time, I like the fight. So
It showed. It really showed.
How about in the 8th round when you landed that uppercut and kind of had him on rubber legs? Did you think that you had a chance there?
Yeah, but my eyes wasn't quite to where they should have been. You know what I mean? I didn't quite notice it until like the last second when he was already getting himself back together.
Okay, and any other questions?
Garrett, I think the question a lot of people had coming in was whether or not you'd be able to take a punch at heavyweight, and you certainly proved that you could, but was there a moment when you realized, okay, I can take what this guy's throwing at me? Like, did you notice in the first round that you could handle his power?
It was a round where he hit me with think one of his hardest punches, and I was still standing, so I was like, yeah, I can take it, I'm good.
So Garrett, had you been in training at all? You were only 4 pounds over the maximum cruiserweight limit, so you weren't that far off.
I was in training somewhat, you know, for a fight all in December. So it wasn't like I was in peak training shape, but you know, I was still, I'm a gym rat. I live in the gym, you know, so I was always some level of prepared.
Now, Garrett, you just mentioned you're a gym rat. Yesterday when we talked, you know, you say you stayed in the gym. Definitely helped you out today. You felt that was key to, you know, you lasted the full 10 rounds when a lot of people didn't give you a chance today.
Yeah, I definitely think that was a definite key to being able to last 10 rounds with that guy.
Now, one other thing, it seemed like you were your own hype man. You know, you won the crowd today. After every round, you would, you know, lift your hands up. You know, the whole crowd was behind you. Is that what you normally do during your fights?
Well, yeah, I like the crowd. I mean, that's who's paying the tickets. I try to give a show every time. You know, I try to make sure that the crowd is entertained by both my fight skill and, you know, things that I may do after the round or something like that. Like with my hand, if of course they're behind me. If they're not behind me, on the fans, it ain't gonna really mean too much of anything.
Well, you won them today, man. Respect.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Garrett?
Any more?
And let's have
Okay.
Karl Dargan.
Yeah,
answer now.
I wanted to say that we had a lightweight fight today to open the show, which on paper looked like it was a toss-up fight, and that's why they fight him on canvas, because Karl made it anything but that. He is a future superstar. He is somebody who I believe is going to be the lightweight of the next few years. When he's a few more good solid wins like this behind him, he's going to step up and he's going to take over the whole division as far as I'm concerned. He's trained by Nazim Richardson, of course, who brought him to me and said, I can vouch for this kid, and that's good enough for me if it comes from a man like Nazim's. And so I'm going to introduce Karl Dargan.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out, man. I was satisfied with my performance, you know, learning experience, first 10 rounder. Actually, I've never been 8 rounds before. So, you know, it's a learning experience. And, you know, we're gonna move forward from here. Any questions, anyone?
Yeah, I saw the entire fight, and I thought 2 of the judges, or all 3 judges were I didn't give the other kid 1 round. I mean, it was so easy. I'm wondering, why was it so easy for you?
Ring smartness, you know. I was brought up around, you know, legends, you know, and I pick up from the people I'm around, you know, like Steve Cunningham, Bernard Hopkins, Sugar Shane Mosley. You know, I train with these guys, so I pick up ring smartness from them guys, and even if, you know, a lot of people thought I won most of the rounds, dominated most of the rounds, it could be 1 or 2 rounds that a guy can do well than he did any other round, and the judges say, okay, I can give him this round, just because he actually did better. Similar to, my opinion, similar to when Roy Jones was dominating every fight. He fought Tarver. Tarver did better than most people ever did with him. Then since he did better than everybody else, they really believed that he won, which I don't think he did. It's just that he made it real competitive.
Karl, you seem to have a lot of poise in the fight, very comfortable, whether you were moving away or staying in the pocket. Did the fact that he had only 2 knockouts on his record make you feel comfortable enough to stand there and not really worry about getting hurt by him?
These last couple of months, you know, I've been working with Canelo Alvarez, you know, and Shane Mosley, you know, so anyone at lightweight I know is not as strong as either one of them. So like, I can't underestimate, just because he has 2 knockouts I can't underestimate him at all. So every opponent I'm ready for whatever they have. If they can punch or not, whether they can show it on paper or not, So, you know, it's like I didn't take him for granted or anything. I just, you know, when I'm in that ring, it's like I'm home, I'm comfortable. You know, I'm gonna let you know that this is my ring and you're gonna do what I tell you to do.
Saying you never have even been 8 before, how did you feel after 10 rounds at that pace?
I felt good, you know. Heck, I actually came off 2 camps, actually, so I wasn't worried about 10 rounds. We could have went 20 rounds. I was in tip-top shape, you know, and when they called and said move it up to 10 rounds, I was like, hey, shoot, that's even better for me.
Karl, you also talked about during the fight, you know, you were talking to the fan, you were talking to your brother, I believe, and you backed him up in the last round. You know, you were fighting his fight, Brooks' fight.
Right.
You backed him up. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
You could tell that he's not used to going backwards, so it like kind of made him uncomfortable. And by him being uncomfortable, he can't perform how he wanted to, and he can't do the things he wanted to do. So that's what I tried to do in the last, I think it was 2 rounds. So it just made him uncomfortable and lose confidence in himself, really.
There was talk going on between the fight. What was being said between you two?
He was basically saying, come on, pause. Come on. I said, oh, I'm coming, don't worry about it, pause.
Karl, what kind of experience had you had previously with southpaws?
I believe this is my 3rd southpaw I fought as a pro, as a professional fighter. But it's like I'm immune to it. Because in the amateurs, when I fight overseas, you know, in the when I was fighting in the World Championships, the World Cup, the Pan Am Games, most of the international fighters are southpaw. So it wasn't really hard for me to adjust. So, you know, it was just like a different side of me just clicked in, like, okay, all right, now we got southpaw. I think really is sometimes I fight southpaws better than I fight orthodox fighters.
Nazim, what can you give us a report card on Karl?
Assalamu alaikum. I have to thank everybody coming out. Yeah, the report card on Dynamite is, I thought it was an outstanding performance based on the fact of he just followed suit to what was going on this week with main events. Everybody, as Ms. Duva said, everybody had to step up. The matchmakers, the promoters, everybody had to step up and do what they had to do in a time of crisis. And this is what makes you special. People who can handle that kind of pressure. So when they say 10 rounds and he never gone 8, when preparation meets opportunity, it's success. He had been preparing well, so we got the opportunity and he jumped up. They said the belt was on the line, that was another opportunity, you know, so he was willing to handle those pressures. So based on that, it was well. I was embarrassed to have to tell him to fight when I know he's a pure boxer, you know, but you don't take, like you say, you don't take anything for granted. And I told him when I saw the tapes on Little Lefty, even though his record only read 2 punches, I said his plant and his balance will show he's a better puncher than he shows on record. It's just that you can't be there for it, you know what I mean? And that's what he did. When you hear me say swim without getting wet, this kid is the epitome of that. I mean, some people ask what does swim without getting wet mean? It means Dynamite Karl Dargan.
It's been a great experience. It's been a trauma, but we got through it. So everybody, time to party. Thank you.
I have a question. When is Karl going to give me that $1 million he owes?
Oh, you so crazy, girl.